What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic, and in today's video, we're going to talk about How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake is doing very well at the box office, as this is looking to be hopefully, I think for Hollywood's sake, a very profitable summer, as there are some big headlining movies coming out. You had Lilo and Stitch already come out, which that one has done very well. How to Train Your Dragon just released this weekend, and then you have Fantastic Four and Superman that are on their way as well. And as somebody who is a major Superman fan, I really, really hope Superman is good, but I'm starting to have some doubts about that movie. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll wait and see on that one. But How to Train Your Dragon, we actually did go see this, and I will do a full review on this movie. A very, very good movie. It is the best live-action remake movie I have ever seen, and I absolutely loved it. And our kids, my wife, even the friends that went with us, all said the same thing. I was very, very impressed with the movie. But it's also doing very well at the box office. So this one from Variety, and it says, How to Train Your Dragon soars to $83 million debut. It flew to the top of the box office charts, earning a stronger than expected $83 million in its first weekend of release. And that was just domestically. It says, enthusiasm from family audiences and nostalgia toward the original 2010 animated adventure helped to propel inaugural ticket sales above expectations of $70 million to $80 million. Universal's live-action remake brought in another $114 million at the international box office for a mighty worldwide start of $197.8 million. That is a very good opening weekend. How to Train Your Dragon cost $150 million to produce and roughly $100 million to market. That right there is one reason as to you look at the struggles of many movies, especially Disney movies, they all have these insanely inflated budgets. I mean, you're looking at $300 million plus for most of the movies that Disney's producing, and even the ones that are successful. That means for them to have profitability of these movies, if you look at the way that movie economics break down, it's roughly speaking, you almost have to double whatever the budget was as what they would get at the box office to essentially break even. I know there's more behind it, but roughly speaking, you can kind of do that. So if your movie costs $300 million, you got a $100 million marketing budget, you would essentially have to almost make $800 million at the box office to just break even. And that is the issue with a lot of these movies, is they're so expensive that a lot of them almost have to make $1 billion just to become profitable, and most movies don't hit that mark. Now, obviously, some movies are more expensive than others, but you look at $150 million for this movie, $100 million marketing budget, that brings it to $250. So essentially, this movie to break even is somewhere around the $500 million mark, and more than likely, I think it's going to hit that and above. I don't know if it's going to hit $1 billion, but it's doing very, very well, and I think the word of mouth is going to help this movie out a lot as well. It's the latest PG-rated movie to score it at the box office, joining the company of a Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch through the first half of 2025. PG films have generated $1.53 billion at the box office. Those ticket sales roughly represent 41% of the year-to-date revenue, and the highest percentage of any rating this year, according to ComScore. PG has become the Goldilocks of ratings, one that indicates a film is appropriate for kids, but still has enough edge to appeal to young adults, teens, and more mature moviegoers. Says this is certainly a trend that should carry over to Elio. We'll see. I don't know about Elio. I don't feel like that one is going to do very well. I don't really hardly feel like many people know about it. Then you have Smurfs, which is kind of probably the same boat there, and Bad Guys 2, which I haven't even heard about Bad Guys 2, and we have young kids, so I don't know about those movies, but potentially they could. Dean DeBlois wrote and directed the remake, having previously steered the $1.6 billion grossing animated trilogy, which includes 2014's How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 2019's How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, set on the mythical Viking village of Berk. The story follows the adventures of a scrawny misfit teen named Hiccup, who befriends an injured dragon he calls Toothless. Reviews aren't glowing, 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what's wrong with these people, because the movie was great compared to the original film, but more importantly, at least in terms of staying power, audience reactions have been enthusiastic. The film earned an A grade on Cinema Score exit polls. In a sign of confidence, Universal has already announced a live-action sequel, How to Train Your Dragon 2, for 2027. And not to mention, you have Epic Universe with Isle of Berk, which if you watch this movie, there are literally parts of the movie where they show Berk that look almost exactly like the Isle of Berk in Epic Universe. So in terms of marketing-wise, what Universal's done with this movie and having a brand new theme park with a brand new land that is based on this movie franchise, it's a risky move, because if this movie does not do well, you would look at that as a risk. But if it does very well, which I think it's going to, it's a great marketing move, because a lot of people are going to be like, we can go to Berk and you can walk right in there, and almost scenes from the movie you can literally walk through in that land. And with Toothless, I mean, that what they took from the animated version to the live action to having the meet and greet that you can do in the Isle of Berk and Epic Universe, they absolutely knocked it out of the park with that. And I highly suspect that Isle of Berk is going to become a much more popular land, which has already become a very popular land in Epic Universe. But I think that is going to become even more popular as you can actually meet Toothless, touch him, and interact with him as he's an animatronic meet and greet. It is the best meet and greet I've ever seen in a theme park. So the cross appeal here from the movie to the theme parks is a genius move by Universal. Our filmmaker, Dean DeBlois, created an incredible tale with heart, action, and emotion. Multiple generations are in love with it, says Universal's domestic distribution chief, Jim Orr. With our audience scores, I can only believe we are going to have a long run throughout the summer. I agree with that. How to Train Your Dragon toppled the 3-weekend reign of fellow kid-friendly hit Lilo & Stitch. In a distant second place, Disney's live-action remake has collected $15.5 million in its 4th weekend of release. It's already a blockbuster with $366 million domestically and $858 million globally. It's on pace to be the year's first billion-dollar release. Says after this weekend, overall box office revenues are 23% above last year's, while still lagging 26% behind 2019, according to ComScore. And then there's other movies as well coming out, which we mentioned. Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World. You have F1. That one actually kind of looks interesting. So the summer potentially is a big one in terms of the box office. Would definitely theaters need this. Hollywood is desperately in need of this. And now in terms of How to Train Your Dragon as a movie, like I said, I don't know what the critics are complaining about, because it was a great movie and literally almost, I mean, there weren't many changes from the cartoon, from the animated movie to this one. And it had a lot of heart. And I think it helped it that you had the same guy that did the animated movies, did this movie. So you have some continuity there. You had Gerard Butler, who was also the same character in the animated movie. And he was great. I mean, it may sound strange, I'm a big fan of Gerard Butler, and he really did a fantastic job in this movie. Was very convincing as the chief of a Viking tribe. And I loved it, and our kids loved it. I would like to see it again. The soundtrack to this movie is fantastic. So I think it's a fantastic movie. And I'm not a fan of live action remakes. I've talked about this for years, as I think they're kind of lazy. But if you're going to do them, this is the template to do it, where you basically just take the animated movie, slight changes, perhaps not much, and make a movie like this. Disney could learn a thing or two about this. Lilo & Stitch wasn't bad. I will give Lilo & Stitch credit. They did make some changes that I did not like about that movie, especially toward the ending of that movie. But overall, it was much more consistent with the original movie, though they did make changes to it. But I think this one is definitely a better movie than Lilo & Stitch. Like I said, I'm going to do a full review on it. I'm kind of still, going through my brain about breaking this down and everything like that. And again, with the tie into the theme parks, this is potentially, if you look at Universal, like a risky move in many ways of building Isle of Berk with Epic Universe, as a lot of people looked at that and said, like, that's not a brand new franchise. Is it big enough to really do a whole land on? And then having the live action come out, if it ends up being $1 billion or close to it, $1 billion movie, I mean, you have renewed interest in this franchise and a land where you can literally go into. And like I said, there are certain scenes in the movie that look just like the Isle of Berk that you have in Epic Universe. So I think in terms of the crossover to theme parks, it's a genius stroke there. And now you're talking about Isle of Berk and Super Nintendo World as two movie franchises that have had very good success at the box office being featured in a brand new theme park. And that goes before you even talk about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So in terms of a brand new theme park having these very relevant properties in their theme park, that's a great move for that one as well. But in terms of this movie, it's doing very well at the box office. Like I said, it's breaking the predictions, expectations that they had. Now, will it make $1 billion? I don't know. I think the word of mouth is going to be very, very good on this. And we're going to have to wait and see what the drop-off is the second weekend, as many times you see 50% drop-off and things like that. But I think the word of mouth is going to help this movie out quite a bit. And I think it could really impede Lilo & Stitch hitting $1 billion, because I think a lot of attention is going to be on this movie, as I think it is a better movie. And I think it has a little bit more cross appeal for kids and even adults. But as of now, that is how it's shaping up for How to Train Your Dragon. And we'll wait and see what that second weekend drop-off is for the movie and how it's shaping up going into July. But very strong showing for How to Train Your Dragon. If you're on the fence about it, I highly recommend it. A great movie. and I will do a full review on it in an upcoming video for sure. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of theme parks and pop culture. And let us know in the comments if you saw How to Train Your Dragon live action remake. What did you think about the movie? And do you think it's going to hit $1 billion? And until next time, we will see you later.